Hey y'all, it's me, Kevvie. Recently I went to this event down in Chicago where a friend of mine has published their own book. It is called The Legends of Drag Queens of a Certain Age. So my friend and their co-author traveled the country, going to 16 cities, interviewing 80 different queens of a certain age and photographing them. And this book is just full of wonderful histories. And y'all know how much I love and cherish drag history and preserving our history. So I'm so ecstatic that this book exists. So thank you so much to y'all for making this. First, this event was so fun. Before the event, I met up with Char from Stranger ASMR, and we had fun, we got ice cream, and then we went over to this event. I got to meet up with a friend of mine from Gerber Hart, Chicago's queer library, and I finally got to meet Hanson and Antheus in person. See, there they are. Those are the two people who made this book, and they're awesome. The event was also co-sponsored by this queer bookstore, and before the event, I went into the bookstore hoping to support them, and I couldn't buy anything because I'm so accustomed to ebooks and buying ebooks when they're on sale that I couldn't justify the prices of these physical books. They cost so much more than the ebooks. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I left there empty-handed. But as soon as I showed up to this event, I grabbed this book. Fuck the cost. I need this. And it's gorgeous and joyous. And I have it right here. So every time I turn my head, I see this gorgeous, bright, joyous moment. And oh, it's just wonderful. They also signed it for me, which is super awesome, and I love it. So this event, it was a panel discussion about the book and the making of the book and stuff, featuring the two authors and hosted by Joe Mama and Luca Me. These two are Chicago drag icons. They are amazing. Joe Mama is one of the most important people in Chicago's drag scene right now. In 2020, they were responsible for organizing Chicago's Drag March for Change. That was just such a powerful demonstration. And then, Joe is also one of the founding members of Chicago's Black Drag Council, who finally stood up to the racist drag hosts and bar owners and said enough is enough of this horse shit, and demanded accountability, and forever changed Chicago's drag scene and had reverberations across the nation. That is thanks to Joe Mama. So much respect and love and adoration. Just wow. Luca Me is easily the most original, unique figure in Chicago drag. And that's saying a lot because we have some weirdos here. They are a drag alien deity. They are so colorful and conceptual and just, oh my gosh, just look at them in this video, so sparkly. I just obsessed. I love these two so much. Oh, and Joe also was the photographer for my first drag photo shoot. Look at this. See? Amazing. I was able to record bits and pieces of this event so I could show y'all how it went. So here's that.
We are an LGBTQ library and archives that was founded in 1981, so we've been around in Chicago for a really long time. We focus entirely on the queer history of Chicago and the Midwest. So if you're interested in learning about some Chicago legendary drag queens, for example, Miss Tilly, the Dirty Old Lady of Chicago, is featured in our podcast, Unboxing Queer History. So we have some postcards up there if you want to check it out, but each episode just dives into different archival collections at Gerber Hart. Please come visit us up in Rogers Park. It's a really great space to learn more about our history here in Chicago.
Joe has been a Chicago resident for over a decade and active member of the queer community here for even longer. They've been known to wear many hats, both figuratively and metaphorically. Recently, Joe has focused their efforts and activism against racial injustice. You probably know them for organizing the Drag March for Change and for multiple other actions within that movement. Joe is currently head and co-chair of the Chicago Black Drag Council, one of Chicago Mag's Power 30 in 2021, and a recipient of the Out 100 for Out Magazine 2020. So we're grateful to have Joe here to help with this conversation. Chicago-based drag artist that intersects blackness with intergalactic and ethereal visions to the stage as an alien deity. It was a bi-monthly show at Berlin nightclub called Voice to Men, and a weekly show at Charlie's Bar, Chicago called Queer Kid.
Hi everyone, I'm Devin. Thank you all for such a warm welcome. We had a great time last year when we were here in Chicago shooting for the book. When we were here, we had the pleasure to shoot with 5 of Chicago's living legends: Chili Pepper, Maya Douglas, Cappuccino Devereaux, Jojo Baby, and Honey West. They're incredible. I hope if you pick up the book that you'll check out their profiles and show up and support them in any way possible. So I'm going to read an excerpt to you about the inimitable and notorious Joan Jett Black. Yes. A poster from her 1992 presidential campaign adorns her door, depicting Joan seated like Huey Newton in a Raton peacock chair and holding a Nerf gun. It reads, "Joan Jett Black for president, by any means necessary."
Yeah.
When asked if any of the Black Panthers ever commented on her propaganda, she retorted, "Communists have no sense of humor."
Yeah, as Devin said, so many of our queens have passed through Chicago, and especially through the baton. So many of our queens have ties to Chicago, even if they don't.
Yeah, which I was curious, how did you go about choosing?
That was definitely one of the most difficult aspects of the project. Once we had a few cities under our belt, we also relied on our models to, act as informants. We could call up Hot Chocolate and say, "Hey, who do you know in Atlanta?" And so that was really valuable for us. And then there are also a few DIY internet archives of drag performers. There's this one called Our Community Roots that almost looks like a GeoCities site or something. It's very like Web 2.0, but it's this quite comprehensive archive of pageant winners going all the way back to the 70s. So it was a mix of research and local informants, and then also just which queens we felt an aesthetic resonance with, who looks like they have stories to tell, who looks like they're going to really perform for the camera.
A lot of queens have passed and we've lost a lot. Was there any queen in particular that you would just dream that there's a chance to document?
The Lady Chablis would be one, for sure. She was the queen who was featured in Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, the book and the movie. She then plays herself in the movie, and it's a really unforgettable performance if you haven't seen it. And she passed in 2016, I believe, but we actually photographed her drag mother. Tina DeVore is in the Atlanta chapter of the book. So Chablis is in there, but her spirit is.
Well, she leaves to Libby Redmond and
Really?
Wisconsin, Savannah.
Oh my god! Vicky Marlane is her name. Vicky Marlane, the lady with the liquid spine.
Apparently, it's quite a contortion.
And Devin, of course.
I'm really curious, what was sort of the most endearing thing that you encountered while documenting all these such talented performers? Something that surprised you while you were doing them?
And for me, it's probably the goddess Bunny in LA. She, no relation to Lady Bunny, but the goddess immediately adopted us as her children.
In the course of writing this book, 4 of our models have passed away between shooting and going to print. Fatima Rude, Goddess Bunny, Tina DeVore, and Lady Red Couture. And each one of them kind of hit us pretty hard. Lady Red was the first to pass. And it was interesting because we almost didn't shoot with Lady Red because she was only 43. And so, for a project focused on elders, she would have arguably been too young. That she was the first of the queens to pass away was, I think, pretty telling of some of the deeper contradictions in this country. And that was a tough one. But it also drove home the point for us that part of why we're doing this, right, is to create this time capsule of these incredible stories held by these immaculate beings that otherwise risk being lost.
In terms of the creative direction of the whole project, the flowers were really key in just elevating everything, because it's not just a portrait, it's a fantasy, And it's funny, some of the girls, we would give them a bouquet to hold, and they would kind of put it down by their hip, or they would turn it in a way that wasn't optimal for the flowers, and be like, no, you have to hold it this way.
People talking about all drag is valid, and people wanting to debate whether it is or not, but the idea of we're going to showcase that literally all kinds of drag existed and hasn't been existing.
Yeah. One of the after effects of Drag Race, for example, is that there is a kind of like idea of like, this is what drag is, and yes, people will operate differently within that, but in reality, what we call drag is a variety of different lineages and traditions that all flow together, right? There's the pageant system, there are the club kids, there's the kind of old school female impersonation, there's like cabaret acts, and like there's the ballroom houses in New York, right? There's all these different like kind of lineages that come from different places that end up crossing.
Speaking of like kids who started watching Drag Race late, it's like, I think a lot of them don't even realize that Drag Race started as basically a parody of America's Next Top Model. I also hope that people read this book and then get excited about like local legends who are in their own communities, right? And like seek them out and not only see them perform and pay them, but like get to know them because they have so many stories to tell.
I mean, I have to thank you on behalf of all of Drag World. No, just for really truly elevating it and documenting and chronicling in such a beautiful way. It looks like a real labor of love and it really does show. And last question, I guess, for me is there going to be another book?
Hey, if someone wants to get us another book deal, we will take it.
I haven't gotten to read this entire book yet, so there might be more after this, after I've read it. But here is a map for the table of contents that shows you all the cities that they traveled to and which queens they interviewed there. And there are some incredible historical figures in here, like Joan Jett Black, Darcel the 15th, Lady Red Couture, the Goddess Bunny, ooh, Fantasia Lamour, Hot Chocolate, Dina Jacobs, my friend Kitty Litter, Chili Pepper, Maya Douglas, JoJo Baby, Capucine Devereaux, Honey West, Shauna Brooks. Just so many huge, influential figures that now have their history preserved in this book. Recently, my friend Kitty Litter was in some financial trouble. So Hanson, the author, and I put together a GoFundMe for her. Yeah, and we premiered her photo, like these beautiful fucking photographs as part of her GoFundMe. And why don't I share you Kitty's story while I'm here? Kitty Litter walked into our audition for the second season of Camp Wanakiki with a piece of toilet paper stuck to her shoe. When the sugar bakers called it to her attention, she replied, "Well, usually when there's something white and unpleasant following me, it's the KKK. I do a lot of shows down here in the South, you understand." After making it to the series finale, she accepted an invitation to appear at Austin Public Library's Drag Queen Story Hour, igniting a controversy wherein she was accused of, among other things, prostitution, pedophilia, witchcraft, and cannibalism. While the latter two accusations make her sound like something out of Grimm's fairy tales, she's still laughing about it. "When you cook those kids, you have to bake them at 350 degrees. Those little brats ate my gumdrops." So that is Kitty Litter. Oh, my beloved friend. I love her so much. So far, I love it, and thank you. And if you want to learn more about the history of drag, I would definitely pick yourself up a copy of that book. Just in case I don't record anymore. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if it pleases and sparkles, I'll see you in the next video. Y'all, oh my gosh, I finished this book. It's phenomenal. It is everything I could have ever dreamed of. These two magnificent humans documented so much of our oral history so that it won't be lost when they are gone. And I will be forever grateful to them for that. I know I already showed you Miss Kitty Litter, but I want to play around and look at some of the other queens in here. Like, I really dig this photo of Mrs. Vera Newman. That is just so colorful and charming and campy and alien. I love it. Rumi Masabo is just ethereal, breathtaking. Just, oh, I keep getting the glare. My apologies, but wow. Sir Lady Java. Oh, just, wow. Look at Hot Chocolate. Yes, serving Vegas. Oh, and I want to show you some more of the Chicago girls. First, we got Chili Pepper, the icon, the legend Chili Pepper, best friends with Oprah Chili Pepper. Oh, she is just amazing. I love what she said about this photo shoot. "I have so many Bob Mackies, but why would I wear them during the day? At the fountain? No, I'll wear something simple. a crisp white blouse, and Chanel. Oprah thinks we should use peonies for the shoot. How could they refuse? Oh my gosh. Beyond her longevity, Chili's mythic status is compounded by her distinction as the very first Miss Continental, the prototype, the blueprint, the original darling. Linda Clifford, good friend of mine, personally bestowed Chili with a tape of Red Light, then unreleased, and Chili's superlative pantomime bested all the other talent. Each year since, audiences eagerly anticipate her appearance in the parade of former Miss Continentals during the opening ceremony. Ooh, and then I'm so glad that they included a very dear friend of mine, JoJo Baby. I love JoJo so much. Chicago's original club kid. Been doing this for so many decades. They're just amazing. Oh my gosh, their studio is unimaginable. Like, there's these documentaries that actually go to JoJo's house and just show everything. And I really recommend seeing those because they're just, wow. One thing that I learned in JoJo's story is that, I don't know if y'all know the story about Michael Alec, the founder of the Club Kids in New York City, how he murdered somebody. Well, apparently when they were after him, he fled to Chicago, and JoJo and their peers hid him, not realizing at the time what he'd actually done. Oh my gosh, that is fascinating. Also, oh my gosh, this photo of Dana St. James is giving me so much transsexual life, honey. I love the cleavage. Like, honestly, nothing brings me joy like tranny titties. Like, ma'am, you worked so damn hard for those titties. You've earned those big ass titties and they are marvelous, darling. And then, oh my gosh, I love this photo of Agnes de Gueron. And I'd never heard of her before, but apparently she's one of the founding members of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, which is this nationwide organization of drag queen nuns who do philanthropy and fundraising and so much important work. And I love learning about that. And then the queen on the cover is Mother Chukka from San Francisco. The joy in her photo is just beautiful. One story in here that was so fascinating was Coco Lachine, who was the official drag consultant on the film Tu Wong Fu, and she had such a significant contribution to that film. Like, she's the one who said RuPaul should come down from the roof, and she was the one who said don't have two crowns, give them a crown and a scepter. And she's the one who hired all the queens to be in that opening pageant, and all of that incredible stuff is all thanks to her. So that was just so wonderful to learn about. Oh my gosh, y'all, this book is everything that I ever needed. Drag history is my deepest passion, and the fact that these two devoted so much of their life and their time and their energy and their sweat and their perseverance to capturing all of this history for us, I feel indebted to them, because without them, like, who knows how many of these stories would just be gone. So thank you, Harry, and thank you, Devin. I don't know what to say, just thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. And I hope that making this video, a few more of y'all will go out and get yourselves a copy of this book so that you can support them, of course, but also so that you can learn and appreciate all of this history and just see how beautiful all these legends are. So beautiful, and they deserve to be seen and appreciated and loved. So please go get yourself a copy of The Legends of Drag, Queens of a Certain Age by Harry Hanson and Devin Antheus. Are you gonna pick up a copy of this? You better be. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if it pleases and sparkles, I'll see you in the next video. Mwah!